The efforts of traditional rulers in the Northwest and Southwest regions in bringing lasting solutions and peace to the conflict-hit regions have often come under heavy criticism. Some of the traditional rulers have paid heavily since the crisis started in 2016. How can traditional rulers from the restive regions collectively lead in the return to normalcy in the conflict-stricken regions is the question we will be attempting an answer to on today's edition of the program. We are glad to receive the pioneer president of the Northwest House of Chiefs, who just wrapped up consultations in the Northwest region aimed at seeing the Fons lead in finding a peaceful means of resolving the crisis. His Royal Majesty Fon Yakum Teuvi talks to the agenda. Your Majesty Fon Yakum Teuvi, thank you so much for accepting to be part of this edition of the agenda. We are glad you honored our invitation, Your Majesty.
Thank you, Mr. LASHA Kingsley, and good evening.
This is the very first time we are having you on our program, and you are the pioneer president of the House of Chiefs of the Northwest region of the country. You just concluded consultations in your region with your peers and other community leaders. Can you help me understand the substance of this consultation which you just concluded in the Northwest region of the country?
Thank you very much. This meeting was planned for us to remind ourselves, because in the past people have looked up at traditional rulers as individuals. The traditional rulers are institutions. So we felt that it was necessary to reopen these institutions within the Northwest region so that they can effectively and efficiently carry on their daily activities. And the second reason for this conclave was to remobilize traditional rulers, put them on a campaign for effective back to school. Because for a couple of years our children have been out of school, and it became a major concern for them to go back to school. And then back to school and reorganization of the traditional chiefdoms, we find ourselves wanting because there is no peace. We cannot execute all these things without peace.
That's right, Your Highness.
And that is the reason why I invited all traditional rulers to effectively contribute to peace building, so that if we have peace within the region, we can be able to carry on those activities without any problem.
Your Highness, let me ask you this question. Does the Fon still command the same respect he used to command 5-10 years ago?
Definitely, we might have some people disrespecting the traditional institutions, but I think the traditional institutions are still strong. What we are seeing nowadays is just that people publicly disrespect traditional institutions now, but it used to happen in the past. We had individuals who disrespected funds back in the villages, but this one these days is so pronounced because they are doing it publicly. So I still think that funds command the respect they used to have.
Okay. Yes, Your Majesty.
The 5 years back.
Okay. How do you intend to handle the backlash that comes from the population who say you don't stand for peace truth and justice, because some of your peers have had to suffer since this crisis started, and you've chosen the path to one that the traditional rulers in the northwest region of the country lead when it comes to looking for lasting solution. And some of your subjects or your children, they are so angry that they don't want to even see you guys. How do you intend to tackle this, or how have you been tackling this to ensure that you command the same respect you used to command 5 years ago?
Yeah, thank you very much. We have successfully organized this conclave with traditional rulers, and the next move, which I announced the other day, was to hold consultations with the elites of the Northwest region in some major towns. And it is unfortunate that the move had been pushed forward. So you await orientations in that direction. But one thing which I would like you to note is that we have a plan, but we don't intend exposing our intentions, our plan action. Because I think when we took over office in January, we exposed this plan of meeting with traditional rulers, enemies of peace would have done all to give it a different face from what we are seeing today.
Your Highness, the worries of many Cameroonians like yourself sitting there is that the bloodshed is to see the bloodshed in your region or your respective fondoms stop. How broad-based was this consultation? Did you talk to some of your children who are so angry that they don't want to see you now? Are you having plans to talk to them and tell them that, look, you can be angry with your father, but your father still remains your father? What is your plan in that direction?
Like I said, we have plans, and I don't intend exposing our plans.
Okay.
We would prefer to do whatever we have to do, and we see peace coming on board, rather than expose our plans for enemies of peace to start fighting the plan.
Okay, that's right, Your Highness. And let's talk about these issues of traditional rulers, getting involved in politics. As we all know, they are supposed to be neutral. That's why some of you still have the opportunity to live in those regions, because you mind the way you treat when it comes to politics. What is your message to your peers, some of whom have escaped from their palaces as a result of the ongoing socio-political upheavals? What did you tell them as a piece of advice to make sure that they talk to their children so that they can allow them to go back to their fondoms for life to go on normally?
Thank you very much. My advice to them, or to my peers, traditional rulers, is for them not to take active part. They shouldn't be partisan in politics.
Okay, Your Highness, let's talk about the consultation, which apparently is not only in the northwest region of the country, like you earlier mentioned, and you came out with another press release saying that other directives have been given. Are you still intending to move to other regions to meet these other elites of the region, to talk to them, to see if you guys can, champion the return to peace in the respective fondoms?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think, like I stated in the last communique, the public should stay calm and wait for further orientations.
You equally met recently with the imams, lamidos, and other religious leaders of the northwest region of the country. How fruitful have the meetings been so far since you started, or the consultations? You just coming out from another consultation with the lamidos.
Very much. I think so many people will be wondering my
your attire this evening.
Dressing code of today, which is not the Northwest tradition. Today I was meeting with the lamidos, aldos, and sarki of the Northwest region. And as a medium of national integration, I felt it an obligation to dress in the attire this set of people dress, to show to how I can integrate in their culture. So the consultations started right on the 18th of August with funds of MESAM, and we have been able to go through all the 7 divisions of the Northwest region, and today was reserved for the lamidos, the aldos, and the sarkis of the Northwest region, which I just ended the meeting with them. And I must say this meeting has been very fruitful, because it has helped and opened the minds of many of these traditional authorities on important issues they didn't know.
Okay.
For instance, we had a presentation on the organization of traditional chieftaincy in Cameroon. We had a presentation on access to land and the role of traditional rulers. For the meeting with traditional rulers, and for the Ardos and the Sarkis today, we presented access to grazing land and the role of traditional rulers. And then we had a presentation also on the regional assembly, and specifically the House of Chiefs.
Okay.
We also had a burning issue, that of civil status registration, which so many of our subjects, our people of the region, give birth to children, or they take steps which warrant the establishment of civil status documents, and they don't establish those documents. So we had a presentation on civil status registry. And lastly, we had a presentation on the effect of the crisis on the educational sector, and what the educational sector think traditional rulers can help them with for effective and massive back to school.
Yes.
So these presentations help.
Yes, Your Majesty, and I equally saw you in some of the pictures with the regional delegate for secondary education, Mr. Ngwan Roland, in that meeting. And we learned from the statistics coming from the Northwest region that the total enrollment of those who hit the streets this year, both pupils and students, to go chase knowledge, just 900. Are you worried with the statistics when it comes to back to school this year? 900 in the entire Kitunja division, your division of origin, just 900.
Definitely, I should be worried, because that is not the expected population. But I am worried to a certain extent, because it is better than last year.
Okay.
So if you have to compare it with last year, then we should say make a great push. And we should be happy. But I'm not happy, because that is not the situation we had before the crisis.
Okay, Your Highness, that's not a situation we had before the crisis erupted. And for many years, most of your peers have not gone back home to perform the usual traditional festivals like the Shatang, the Lela festival, and the rest. And apparently, the gods are angry with some of you.
Well, I have not seen a situation where probably the gods are angry.
From what is happening in your lands.
We wouldn't want to say the gods don't know what is happening. The gods know, and I'm not seeing any possibility that the gods are angry with the traditional rulers. The safety of the traditional ruler or the Fon is the safety of the entire community.
Okay, the safety of the Fon is a concern of the entire community. Your Highness, we are gradually moving out of the discussions, and many people watching us right now. We want to know the plan. You took over in January as the Vice President of the Northwest Regional House of Assembly, and equally you double as the pioneer President of the House of Chiefs for Northwest. What are your plans for your people, for the population?
We have time to know what we are called upon to do. And I think when we finally know exactly what we are called upon to do, and we have the means at our disposal, we would be able to serve our population, because the population concern is our priority.
Okay, the population's concern is your priority, and you equally met with civil society organizations. I'm talking about leaders of civil society organizations, which of course they represent the local population, because they are always working for the interests of the common man. What are some of the plights that they carry to you, Your Highness?
I think for now we have not been able to hold consultations with the civil society or the population at large to be able to source their concern. And I think that will be done in the days ahead. And by then, I will be able to relate to you the content of our discussion.
Okay, Your Highness, thank you so much for taking our time on your busy schedule to talk to my media prime. Your last word to your subjects in Bambalang and the entire Northwest region.
Thank you very much. The message I can give to the people of Bambalang is a message of peace. Peace is everything. And the same message I'm giving to the people of Ngoketunja is the same message I'm giving to the people of the Northwest region. Peace, peace, peace. Let each and everyone within his or her sphere of influence be an ambassador of peace.
Peace without justice, Your Highness?
I don't know what you mean by peace without justice. Peace definitely must go alongside with justice. We want peace, we must deliver justice.
Thank you so much, Your Majesty, Fon Yakum Teuvi of Bambalang Village and the pioneer President of the Northwest House of Chiefs. It was a pleasure having you on today's edition of the program, Your Majesty.
Thank you very much, Mr. LASHA Kingsley. The pleasure is shared. I wish you all the best.
You're welcome, Your Majesty.